Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, community. Hope all is well. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Thank you for joining us for this week's number two spaces. So we got a lot of out for you, but I want to bring on stage a special guest for who you all know and love, Rick Kimsey. How you doing, Rick? Oh, can't hear you. I think you're muted. Still can't hear you. Let's see here. Still can't hear you. Let me know. Just keep saying something. Hold on, let me unmute. Try again. It might be coming through a different audio source. Let me know. But while Ricky gets his audio fixed up, we're going to go ahead and get started. For those who don't know, my name is Vandel Calendar, CEO of Liquid Agents. Background in computer science. My co-founder Chris, his is in physics, and we are mentors, educators, and builders. And today we'll be talking about, of course, Liquid Agent, some alpha, what we're going to be doing this week, education on remittance, etc. So,
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing?
For some reason, it had me set on a different microphone, one that I don't even have.
No worries. How you doing, man? It's been what, a week since I've last seen you?
About 4 days.
About 4 days. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, it's so funny. When you were here, weather was kind of hot, but then it was super rainy when you left. But it's back to Hotlanta. So
Yeah, typical Hotlanta.
Yep. Well, thank you for joining me, Rick. Can you just give like a brief introduction of who you are, and then we'll go ahead and get the show started.
Sure. Name's Rick Kimsey. I bring 20 years of financial experience starting telecom companies like LA Cellular, Houston Cellular, Sprint PCS, along some global telecom companies. And I came along here to help the Project Pi ecosystem succeed. I'm here to sort of bridge the traditional telecom banking rails, sort of like the Web 2 with the Web 3 powered solutions like Liquid Agent and SoonPay.
Awesome. Well, let's actually get started. So you said something interesting, which our community may or may not know is, can you kind of explain what is SoonPay, their mission, and like what's going to be, what are we going to be doing later this week?
Yeah, it's actually really simple and straightforward. SoonPay is a US FinCEN compliant global money transmission or remittance app that works on Android and iPhones. And it's basically built on the stablecoin rails. You know, remittances, it's about $1 trillion sector that supports families, businesses, entire economies. And just like Zelle, PayPal, Venmo, and the stuff that you're probably using all the time, except SoonPay, you can do this globally. Most of those others are just local to the US and the like. And from SoonPay, we've got some advantages. One competitive advantage is our network allows you to send money more efficiently and effectively than, say, Western Union or other money transmission companies. And again, we're focusing on an $800 billion emerging market. Everybody else, I mean, US is a significantly large market internally, but the emerging markets, and again, we're focusing on East Africa, Central Africa, and Western Africa as our first templates before we roll this out globally. And we're using this sector to transmit funds. It's been used for food, healthcare, housing, education, but it delivers a lower cost solution to today's problems in these emerging markets. These are a lot of unbanked people who really haven't had the ability to do a lot of the things that SoonPay will allow us to do with them. And another advantage is we've got a relationship with Uganda, which is our first country that we're really using as the basic template. Their social security and healthcare provider system. We're providing a stickiness with SoonPay that allows our app and the senders who are using our app to contribute to the retirement and or healthcare insurance programs for the recipient. Because most of these, this is peer-to-peer. This isn't big business sending to big business. This is, children sending to parents, parents sending to children. So it's a peer-to-peer program, and those people are the ones that allow to enroll in the Ugandan retirement and healthcare program, and that enhances or enriches their lives, the Ugandan lives, which benefits the people and the systems that are trying to build these resources for their people that live in their country. And again, Uganda is going to be the template. We're going to launch in East, Central, and West Africa rapidly. But we plan to use this template then to go into the Caribbean, Central and South America, the EU, Asia, Oceania. It's truly a global remittance app.
Lovely said. Yeah, I think I want to take a step back because I want to make sure that everyone just digests everything what Rick said. So for those who are living in the States or not, again, there's a few apps that Rick just mentioned, right? You have Venmo, you have CashMap, you have all these different remittance type applications that you can download to send money to people. That is great. But how are the users benefiting from that? And again, what we're doing is we're taking what already exists, a successful model here in the United States, applying that and bringing it over specifically for our first pilot program in Uganda. Now, the difference between everything, again, if you guys missed it, is when a receiver is sending money when the sender is sending money to the receiver, how are they benefiting? So there's going to be a small little fee that's going to be going into their account to where we can provide things like you alluded to, health insurance and et cetera, which is very, very huge. And on top of that, like a Venmo and Cash App, you have a crypto button. When you click in that crypto button, that's when you're actually going to go through the liquid agent side, where we're going to be not only onboarding millions, hundreds of millions, potentially billions as we scale this out of unbanked and uneducated people about blockchain, to making it a seamless, simple way to onboard, educate, and actually build it. One thing, again, you have to remember, guys, it's all about ownership and it's all about providing value to the end user. At the end of the day, when people are utilizing a product, it's like, well, what's in it for me? Well, again, it's all about those three things I just mentioned, right? And I don't want to say his name, but I love what our guy says, Rick: build your own, keep your own, and teach your own. And I love that so much because I feel like the values align heavily, and it's super, super excited to see what we've been building. But I know this week we're actually going to be headed to New Orleans. Can you kind of talk about a little bit more about what's going to be happening? I know our community knows about it and what's going to go on, but can you talk a little bit more about that, Rick? This weekend,
Memorial or Labor Day, excuse me. I'll get a holiday right. Yeah. Labor Day weekend. The Uganda North American Association has its annual conference in New Orleans. And this is a gathering of the largest diaspora of Ugandans, which enables SoonPay to basically network with potential users of our app. We're going to be meeting up with government officials and banks and our retirement and healthcare partners. And this will allow us to sort of finalize our stablecoin structures, show how Liquid and SoonPay can unlock real world value. But it's also going to allow us to strengthening our relationships with regulators and financial institutions. Again, we talked about, U.S. FinCEN requirements, which are pretty globally the most stringent anti-money laundering and know your customer requirements, which is SoonPay follows the most rigid ones that FinCEN demands, which means globally, we're going to be a very safe haven to send money legally. There is no money laundering deal. We are above board, legal, moral, ethical, all the good stuff. But this also then in New Orleans allows us to fine tune our marketing strategy to the diaspora and to the Ugandan locals, because there's going to be Ugandan locals there, but there'll also be the diaspora, U.S. people from Uganda. And they're going to be able to, we'll be talking to them and fine tuning to make sure we're marketing properly and getting their value in how we deliver our services.
Yes, yes, exactly. And you said another thing that is really important, stable coins. So
Mm.
this is very interesting because we have the TradFi or traditional finance and DeFi and decentralized finance kind of merging together with AI and now stable coins. When we've been building out our company, not even that long ago, 2 years ago, you've had companies like Stripe, different banks, different traditional financial or fintech based products who were, I don't want to say anti crypto, but they weren't really accepting it. But I feel like this go around, it's been very unique and different for a multitude of reasons, which is one, our administration here in the United States is very crypto friendly. And now you see companies like Stripe purchasing Privy, Bridge, where they can issue stable coins. Banks can do stable coins. Banks can now legally run proof of stake validators. They deem liquid staking not a security. But one thing I want to touch on right now is stable coins, right? So we see MetaMask doing a stable coin. PayPal has already had a stable coin. Gemini has their stable coin. And I feel like in the future, and I could definitely see it to where there's going to be three different avenues, right? You're going to have companies having cryptocurrencies or stablecoins, either legal tender, like El Salvador for Bitcoin, and or different countries actually doing their stablecoins. And I know in the United States, I know Wyoming actually adopted that as well too. Now, from your perspective, Rich, from everything, from your background and expertise with AI and stablecoin and what's happening, how do you see the soon paid liquid agent partnership when people are going to be able to download this remittance app and utilizing not just traditional remittance, AI, DeFi, but stable coins? How do you think this would be adopted long term as we roll out the uniqueness of what we discussed about users actually having, as you deemed, a real Social Security account?
Well, I mean, we're looking at the SoonPay wallet is going to be the repository of not just funds that I plan to send from point A to point B. It's investment funds. I'm going to, our plan is to make the SoonPay wallet so valuable, and that's where the crypto comes in. They're just going to leave money on there, and eventually turn SoonPay into a total payment platform, a total banking platform, where we can accumulate billions of dollars in the platform that can be loaned back out just like a bank would. That could be used in the stable coin and if you want to call it unstable coins, Bitcoin and the like. So you can actually earn a return on those funds, but it can be used like a credit card. You just go to a vendor and you drop your SoonPay wallet down on the deal and it pays. And so you keep money in there, but the money's not like in your checking account, which you get like 0.0001% a year on. It's something that, it's a crypto that's going to give you a better return, which, the whole concept is just get them to build the wallet. And that's not only the sender, but it's the recipient. The recipient's not going to go, oh, let me go run to an agent and get my Ugandan shillings. No. Leave it in the wallet. Take it in. We're working with a large number of agents where they can actually pay their electric bill, pay their phone bill, all this stuff can be paid out of their SoonPay wallet. Well, that means they're going to leave the money in there. And the longer they leave the money in there, the better it is for the investment capabilities of SoonPay and Liquid.
Right. Now, you said a lot of important things, and there's one thing I want to hit on is what you just said, plus SoonPay and the capabilities and what makes it unique. When it comes specifically to not just remittance itself, one thing that I know that we'll be solving, which most people ask, well, how come no one else has done this, right? And me being more inclined in the more traditional sense, because I remember when I first got into crypto and I bought my first Bitcoin in 2017, I didn't understand what it was. Fast forward about 8 to 9 months later, I found out about a technology called blockchain, right? Blockchain technology, distributed ledger, cryptography, open ledger database system. Once I found out that blockchain was a technology that was powering Bitcoin, I was like, oh, wow, this is actually very powerful. And with that, opened up a global database system to where people can just send and transfer money, energy, and time instantly. Why do you think people haven't already solved that issue in Africa to where if you're trying to send money from one country to another? Is it because of the banking system? Is it because of the clearinghouses? And if so, how would we be solving that?
Well, that's been the biggest obstacle. In my travels around the world, I've noticed there's been a lot of issues of getting access to funds, transmitting funds. If you're using the SWIFT system, which is the banking system, you're going to pay $30 or $40 to transfer, $30 to $40 to receive, and that's ridiculous. I mean, we're talking about what I consider like an ACH or something like. It's a very simple transaction, but it's the domain of the banking system, and this is the same thing. If you liken it years ago to when Charles Schwab came into the brokerage system. Brokerage, those guys made a fortune off of buys and sells because of the commissions. And Schwab comes in there and just drops them down to today, they're free. You do commissionless trading. And so that totally changed the brokerage system. I think things like this are going to totally change the banking system. Banking as you know it, again, intra-US, inside the United States, we've got it a lot easier because of a lot of the banking requirements allow you to do things on a national charter or a regional charter or state chartered bank or savings loan or credit unions. Those are pretty much almost interchangeable. There are differences, but they're getting less and less. But once you go overseas, and this is sort of like the years ago when we had long distance. I bet everybody on this call, who was your long distance carrier? Well, that's not a question anymore, because there is no such thing as long distance in the United States. MCI, Sprint, AT&T, all those guys went away. There is no such thing as a local area transport access. Judge Green and his 84 final judgment's irrelevant. Well, this is going to do the same thing in the banking arena. You're going to be able to send funds. You ought to be able to send funds for $1, 1% max. And it ought to be going down because there's just not a lot of activity involved. It's not like I've got this, little guy over there with the, blue eye shade and the, and the pencil and the ledger. It's electronic. It's simple. But the existing group makes too much money off the existing process. And so disruptive technology is what brings the new things to light. And Web3 begins the real big process of disruption. And the AI and the part, it allows you to quickly send money globally. Now, again, governments and banks, they're scared. They don't know because they're worried that, okay, I'm going to send $1 billion from here to, Singapore, and I'm going to hide it away and I'm not going to pay taxes and everything like that. That's not the way it's done. Again, we report, suspicious activity reports. We do everything in accordance with FinCEN. So the governments are getting to where they're going, okay, I sort of see. You're not trying to screw me. You're doing it in accordance with the laws. You're just speeding up the transactions. And that's where Web3 really blows it away. And that's the future. I'm sure there's going to be a Web 4 and a Web 5 all the way down the line. But that's the future of technology. And it's guys like Project Pi and you guys and the rest of the people at the Blockchain Center, Atlanta Blockchain Center, that you're sitting there talking about smart contracts. I talked with an attorney I went to Houston's in Atlanta before we left, talking to an attorney that had retired, and he lived down here in Florida. And I told him, I said, your job is going to change from writing contracts and then litigating them to writing smart contracts that you're not going to be able to say, well, I'm not going to pay him because he didn't deliver. No, the blockchain is going to say you did A, B, C, and D, so E happens, and you can't stop it. I guess even if you wanted to, you would have to rewrite a new blockchain smart contract. Well, that changes the legal system totally, because now you don't have a whole bunch of people suing. So those are the things that Web3 that I'm sitting there going, wow, this is new stuff that is really disruptive of a lot of things. You can disrupt the real estate industry, you can disrupt the legal industry, you can disrupt the banking industry. And all of the existing guys, none of them are going to try this out because one thing they're afraid of is losing their jobs. And so that's why large companies rarely come up with creative ideas. They wait, let somebody else do it, and then they buy them. And that, of course, is the potential exit strategy for SoonPay. You build all this stuff up, it's starting generating the process, because the toughest thing to do is getting all the contracts, getting all the banking regulations and the licenses, and getting all the relationships set up, and getting the platform set up. And then once all that's done, you've got the exit strategy guys go, oh, now we'll come by you. And of course, you get a very high multiple at that point in time. So that's sort of the exciting part. That's why I'm in this. That's why I'm here with you guys. This is exciting. You know, I got into cellular at the very beginning of an exciting time. This is new excitement.
Yeah, most definitely. It's super exciting for me as well. And you touched on a lot of things that I don't want people to overlook what you just said. It takes a long time to get these paperwork and everything done, right? I know SoonPay has been alive for a while now, but I want to preface our community to let them know, guys, like whenever you see, I guess, roadmaps and certain things being launched, we try to be as transparent as possible. Obviously, things happen, but this is why we wanted to have this live stream and many more to come, as we're full force, guys. You know, everything is looking great. Those things that Rich just said, it takes a very long time to get these things. That's why you see other remittance protocols and businesses either partnering up or like acquisition, stuff like that as well. But I kind of want to pivot a little bit, Rick, and thank you for that information. But guys, please don't underestimate the traditional remittance. Again, that's billions of dollars of value in volume a day. Sometimes if you're talking about the whole global market, trillions. The full crypto market is 3 trillion alone. So when you're merging traditional finance with Web3, Web2 to Web3, DeFi, merging it together, and then sprinkling on AI automation on top of that, that's going to be next level. Most of the apps that I see, sure, you can transmit money. Sure, you can do some type of crypto, whether you're just buying it and holding it or staking it. But again, the whole ethos of everyone who has been utilizing Liquid Agent, and thank you for those who have been, you should be able to see the potential, right? If you have an app, right, like a Venmo or Cash App on your phone, that's great. What's the next step? If you want to send money to a relative or friend, someone outside of the country, well, you can do that seamlessly. Email, phone number, you have a wallet, but it also guides you and educates you and then automates that for you. So if you are not a good saver, for example, through the crypto Liquid Agent side, you simply, use the Agentic wallet and everything is automated on your behalf. Now, if you don't want that to happen, we have a custodial and non-custodial. You can do it all by yourself. But again, some people don't have that time. What is the mission? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to solve? We are truly trying and are onboarding hundreds of millions of people to not only Web 2 to Web 3. You have to take account for the things that they don't have that we have already. Internet. infrastructure, and infrastructure is everything: computer, laptop, cellular, as Rick said, healthcare, credit, like everything that we take for granted. This is a full-blown package that we're going to be delivering internationally, and it's going to be beautiful. So let's go ahead and take a little pivot now. I do know some of the community had some questions. I'm going to go ahead and read it out. I know we talked and touched on some of them already, but one of them is, when can we expect the Cash App style release of Liquid? That's a really good question. With Student Pay and Liquid, we're cooking, guys. We're doing our thing. We want to have the app live on the App Store here fairly soon. Once that happens, you will have that Cash App style app, and you can try it out. So that is that. Next question. Can you clarify what's meant by 0.9 in the roadmap? Oh, no clarifications of that yet. But just it's going to be very exciting. We're doing a lot, but again, we have to take it in chunks, tape it in pieces, do it quarterly, make sure everything is good. As Rick said, we're compliant. We don't want to half anything. We want to make sure we're doing everything correct, because we know what we're going to be bringing to the table is going to be not only a game changer, but revolutionary. So we want to make sure that everything is good to go and copacetic there. Last question before we continue on our conversation. Do you plan to ramp up marketing once all season heats up? Yes, again, as Rick alluded, and I'll allude as well myself, it's all about marketing, right? It's all about branding and marketing. And if you looked at our recent message in Telegram, we just got new branding for our banners, for our flyers, new website update coming out soon. But it's all about the branding and the marketing and making sure that we're educating the people on there. All right, and I will answer a few more questions later. Let's go ahead and continue the conversation, Rick. Let's see here. What haven't we talked about? So I think we said a lot already. We've talked about Student Pay. We talked about remittance. We talk about the global reach, what we're doing, how that's scaling and impacting. So I guess from your unbiased perspective, Rick, from us, knowing each other for a minute now and building, what are your thoughts on Liquid? What do you think about it in your personal opinion?
Well, I'm excited about it. Like I said, that's why I got in touch with you guys and been on the team trying to enhance it, because I see how Liquid is going to be able to merge up with SoonPay and provide, again, it's the ability to differentiate. It's the ability to be able to choose, fiat versus digital. This allows, again, customers want the choice. And for us to be able to give them the choice, if they want to do it all crypto, and there's some that are just, I don't want to touch anything but crypto, fine. There's others that go, let me keep an eye on this, and maybe I'll do a little bit of both. I'll keep a little crypto over here and see what it's going. But I want to send fiat, and of course, we're dealing with global monetary currencies. Like I said, it's the Ugandan shilling, UGX. So USD equals UDGF, and it's about a 3,500 shilling to $1 US. Those are things that we have to deal with, and that's part of the compliance. Our compliance officer makes sure we do everything legal, moral, and ethical, because when the U.S. government gets a hold of you, they can shut you down real quick. And we don't want that. We've got to, like I said, we have our compliance officer that is a ex-FinCEN person, and that person pretty much guides when and where we do things, so we're all on the legal side. But the crypto side of it is the future. I see that. Was it El Salvador? It's their currency in their country. Is crypto. More and more people are looking down there, and I'm saying El Salvador. Hey, the guy that went in there and became the president there decided to make some major changes, and has actually turned El Salvador from a so-so safety-wise country to, hey, it's beginning to be a much better country, and it's making a lot of the other Central American countries take notice. Well, it's also making other countries outside of Central America take notice. Well, there's a reason behind that. And if El Salvador can say, okay, Salvadorians are safe and comfortable with digital currency, then other countries are going to get more safe and comfortable with it. And that's where it grows.
Yeah, I 100% agreed. You know, it's funny, when I was actually studying an undergrad at Georgia State University, my computer science, the day that I actually not found out, but like joined the blockchain club at my university was ironically the same day that El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender.
Yeah.
I don't believe in coincidence, so I thought that was really interesting because I know studying computer science is just a glorified math degree, but it's very broad, right? Like you have software engineering, software development, data engineering, product management. But I knew I wanted to do something in blockchain. So I was like, I'm going full in blockchain. The titles are relevant. I just want to teach, learn, and build in this new technology. So remittance, money, revenue. Let's talk about revenue. Well, let's not talk about. Well, we can merge both. From the research and development and building we've done over the past few months and years now, Rick, what are some of the projections that you see from, you know, taking a specific country like Uganda, right? And then, you know, once one country does something, the rest follow. What are some of the numbers that you can see in terms of either volume, transfers, and the traditional remittance side, even possibly even coupling it with the crypto side, specifically stable coins, in terms of the volume that we could potentially see?
Well, I think right now, if you looked at Uganda, use it as an example, it's about $1.7 billion US dollar market for remittances. That'll probably grow. It's been, you know, at 18 to 20% a year. And that's one of the lower. Uganda is one of the lower. Some of them are growing 40 to 50% a year in remittances. Plus, I believe that if you can lower the cost of remittances, you're going to increase the dollar amounts that are being remitted. I mean, if you're currently sending $100 right now and it costs you $10 to send it, you know, by Western Union, well, that's 10%. You say, well, maybe I'll send $100. But if all of a sudden it's only 1% and I'm only going to charge $1, maybe I'll send 200. Well, there you've just doubled the remittance value. And I believe that's going to increase more, especially when you add things like the Social Security and the healthcare side. Most of the money, most of the remittances generally go in one direction. They go from a diaspora to the home country. So in this case, from the diaspora to Uganda. But we're also increasing it from, I mean, you might have some parents that are sending money to their children at university or someplace, and so that will be an outflow of funding. But we're also looking to do it intra-country and inter-country, but inter-country Africa, where they can do trade. And so, if you know, it's almost like having an Amazon that you can pay in Ugandan shillings and end up with the Zimbabwean dollar, the ZWG, and get them to actually be trading amongst themselves across country lines. And you know, some of you may be aware of the issues between some countries in Central Africa. If the people are trading amongst themselves between countries, there's a less likelihood that they're going to sit back and let the government cause issues in wars and everything between the countries. So, you know, world peace kind of stuff like that. If people are dealing with other people on a person-to-person basis, a peer-to-peer basis, you know, that's good. And if you look at the size, you know, SoonPay, I mean, we've got a group called CCAL, which is SoonPay East and Central Africa. Our forecast was showing, our revenue in over 5 years is almost 700 million US dollars. And that's going through about 12 countries, just in East and Central. Then you've got West Africa. That's another 200 million. And then we looked at the Caribbean and Central America and South America. We looked at the 5-year total was like $3.5 billion in revenue for SoonPay. That's not the amount of transactions. That's the SoonPay revenue. And that's phenomenal. And then you go into Oceania and Asia and EU. I mean, we've got people in the EU that want to license SoonPay to go into the EU. And the upside of the EU is if you get a banking license, a money transmission license in one country, you've got it in all the EU countries. It's not the same in the United States. In the United States, there is no, if I've got one in Georgia, I've got one in all 50 states. No, in the US, you have to get a money transmission license everywhere a potential customer will be. And that's one of the reasons that it's been a little slower in launching, because we've got to get all those licenses lined up, because we have no idea if it's somebody in Montana, logs into SoonPay and wants to send money. We've got to have a license in Montana. And these are not something that you can just say, oh, give me a license. It's a dog and pony show to get licenses. So that's what, again, our compliance officers making sure that we're in compliance. And that's one of the reasons that it's taken. I mean, we've been working on SoonPay for 5 years. That tells you how long it takes to get the app done, plus get the licenses done. And it's not an inexpensive, which is another barrier to entry. So it's a plus side. It costs at least $1 million to $1.5 million to get all 50 states. I think New York alone is $100,000 to get a money transmission license. So there's a big obstacle, barrier to entry, and that's what gives value to SoonPay, is because we've overcome a lot of those barriers. We're still overcoming them every day. But those barriers to entry is what, when Van, you were asking, why had somebody else done this? Well, it isn't that easy. And especially when you're going overseas and you're dealing in third world countries where you're trying to get the government to understand what you're trying to accomplish without them trying to encourage you to provide incentives to get the license, to which we have to, because of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act of 1977, we're not allowed to do. We're not allowed to grease the skids to government officials to get licenses. We have to do it the old-fashioned way, work for it. But it also makes it easy because we tell them, say, we can't do that. Foreign Corrupt Practices Act says we are not allowed to do that. And that goes for everybody in the United States. We don't go to jail for that.
Well said, Rick. And again, guys, as you can see, us collaborating, coming together, the SoonPay team has been cooking for a minute, 5+ years. The Project Pi teams, Project Pi Lab team's been cooking for almost 3 years now. And again, whatever type of business you get into, there's always going to be hurdles you have to overcome. And as you can see, SoonPay is still alive. Project Pi Labs is still alive with Liquid Agent, Pi Post, Gotchas, and a plethora of other beautiful solutions to help people, right? And I think the beautiful thing is, especially with what Rick just said about not only what we're solving, the difficulties, the hurdles, the things we've overcome, what's to come when we are going to be traveling this week to New Orleans, the revenue model, but how is this all going to make sense when you're coupling it with SoonPay and Liquid Agent? Again, we are already solving things that most people aren't already solving, right? Which is intra and intra trading between different countries and regions, getting adopted not just in Africa but also other countries as well too. But that small niche piece is again enabling not just Web3 blockchain technology but AI. And how does that going to make sense? As you've seen, community, is there's, if you haven't seen it already, there's a beautiful flywheel that's happening, right? Let's go through the process. Sign up, download SoonPay, link your debit or credit card. Debit card, bank account like a normal app, and then you can transmit money like normal. Level 2 is click that crypto button. Once you click that crypto button, again, as SoonPay is onboarding and generating revenue, likewise is Liquid Agent is onboarding and generating revenue. And there's a flywheel, right? Liquid token will be burned, validators will be purchasing, which means more yield, which means more burn, which again, in its totality is, it's a beautiful revenue, not just for SoonPay and Liquid Agent and giving back to the unbanked, but likewise for our users as well too. Again, the difference between SoonPay, Liquid Agent, and all these other applications is we are legitimately giving back to the user. When the user is sending money and utilizing this application, you are getting, like we alluded to, things that most people take for granted if you're international. Healthcare, Social Security, loans, all that other stuff that you just don't think about. And I think that's a wonderful thing. Definitely not easy to do, but we're still here, still cooking, and just super excited for the future. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and answer a few more questions, and then we can close it out with some remarks and go from there. Rick, sound good to you?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Let's see here. Okay, we've already answered that. How will Liquid Agent or Liquid Drive adoption cross Africa, especially in places like there? Yeah, we've just talked about that. What role would community education play in building a trust in the ecosystem? Yeah, again, once users are downloading the app, it's just like any traditional thing, right? People can rate the product on, the Google or Apple Store, come into the Telegram, ask us questions, email the support, and just give us feedback. As you can see real time, as our users are giving feedback, we're updating real time. We let them know, hey, this is what we're doing, try it out, and let us know what you think. We take pride in not just building an amazing product, but actually getting user feedback and implementing it if it makes sense at that time. Let's see here.
And we'll also be using key metrics in our network operations center to see, what is the time lag between, a sender sending money and the recipient getting access to the money. And of course, the whole goal is to get it as quickly as possible. And that's going to be, you'd love to be able to say, well, I'm on phone with my brother in Uganda, and I just sent you $100 on SoonPay. Boom. Oh yeah, it just showed up here. That's the goal. And so if we can do that, then that's much better than sending it, well, I got to go to the Western Union and I got to, give them cash or give them check or whatever payment. Then it's transmitted to Uganda, and then my recipient's got to go to a bricks and mortar store and get the money. Well, no, I just get it on my phone. It's in my wallet. I can go at my leisure if I don't want to or do. That's the exciting part.
Well, not only that, and like we talked about before, and as you guys seen as you traveled, is you have to wait in line, and sometimes by the time they're there, there's no more money left.
Oh yeah, I've been to ATMs that you go in there and it's out of cash. And then these are Caribbean countries that use the U.S. dollar. They don't have enough cash on the island to operate, and so things like a wallet, those are perfect in the Caribbean islands. They're perfect in any country that has issues with cash, whether it's the local currency, whether it's the Ugandan shilling or the Zimbabwean dollar or the Panamanian dollar, which is the U.S. dollar. Those are all based on access. And if I can keep my digital currency in my wallet, I don't care if there's not enough paper out there. I mean, paper is just paper. But I've got my wallet, and I can use it as a paying tool, just like a Apple Pay or anything like. This whole concept is taking it global, and that's something even Apple Pay can't do.
Exactly. Beautiful, beautiful. Well said, Rick. Well said. Let's see here. Let's answer some other questions. Will team members add Liquid to their X BIOS to boost visibility? Yeah, like I said, we're cooking. We have Project Pi Labs, Liquid Agents, one of our products. Chris and I will eventually do that again. We'll make it happen, guys. No worries. We're just busy cooking. I mean, you could probably see my tired eyes. Always up with the kids and just building. But we'll make it happen. No worries, guys. Let's see. Are there plans to update the website with new? Oh, of course. Yeah. Not only are we going to be updating the website with new team members, but we're going to get a nice little refresh for the rebranding. So look forward to that, guys. Let's see here. Will you highlight partnerships and the stability of the stablecoin utility more prominently in the site? Yeah, for sure. When that does happen again, at least from us, for sure. We're all about, under promise, over deliver. We don't want to put something on our site that's not official yet. We'd rather make sure everything's working, everything's compliant, and it's been working for a while before we even put that on our site, because we don't want to miscommunicate and misinterpret and misdirect our users. That is not what we're all about. Again, as Rick alluded, what we're doing takes a very long time to do. It takes sweat equity in terms of like what you need to put in capital wise, and then patching it and putting it all together for potential acquisition in the future. So again, we're here for the long time, right? We're not here for a short time. We're here to actually change and make a difference. Do not forget that, guys. What kind of AI technology powers a stablecoin utility? Great question. If you are in the Liquid Agent beta, there's a form you fill out, join our Telegram, get signed up, and you could definitely use it and give us our feedback. Again, it is utilizing an agentic system that is custom built by our CTO, Christopher Powell. Goated guy, amazing co-founder, amazing husband, amazing mentor. He's like my best friend, but Chris would be able to definitely answer that question a lot more prominently. Again, I don't want to misinterpret, as Chris and I have built our company, even though we have both STEM background in physics and computer science, we had to delegate, right? At first, of course, we were doing legitimately everything, but now we have a team to delegate stuff. So that's his main expertise. So go ahead and reach out to him, and he'll definitely let you know about that. Let's see here. Tokenomics and burns. We already talked about that. Events, partnerships. Yeah, again, I mean, I feel like we've already answered a lot of these questions already, guys. If you do have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. But to kind of just sum up everything that we've said is, I'll talk about from the Liquid Agent side. Rick can close out on his side on the SoonPay, and we'll get it wrapped, and then we'll go ahead and get ready for our trip to New Orleans. A fun fact, Rick, I have never been to New Orleans, so that's going to be interesting.
I've been there many times. You'll love it.
Awesome.
Got places to take you to there.
Awesome. Yeah, again, the preface in the whole ethos of Project Pi Labs, specifically Liquid Agent, right? To help decentralize as many blockchains as possible. Educate people, not just educate them, but make them producers, not just consumers consuming things. We want them to own a piece of something, whether that's running a validator, whether that's being in a stablecoin ecosystem to where they're gaining yield, whether that's onboarding them to SoonPay, where they're actually, whenever they're sending and receiving money, the recipient is actually getting some type of compensation, all while being automated with AI and making sure that everything is compliant. When it comes to Liquid Agent, again, when Liquid Agent was created, it was an internal tool for a liquid staking protocol that we built with 2 people. Let me say that again. The average fundraising and team amount is $8 to $10 million. A team of 10 to build the liquid staking protocol. We did it with 2 with minimal funding. Guys, we're not here to mess around. We are here. We're building. We are solving real world problems and solutions. We are a company. We build products, and we are here to make a difference to the world. When we do go to these meetings this week to talk to government officials, we will definitely educate them and let them know what is happening. You can already see it in the States. From when I first got into crypto from 2017 till now, I knew it was the future. I knew it. My father was a Marine. He's been in network engineering for almost 3 decades. So my whole life, I've been in cars, tech, and anime. I love anime. But all that to say, my father has been in the space for 3 decades. I see it because I came in a world where we had internet technology and video games. Once I found out that Bitcoin underlying technology was blockchain, I was all in. Most people are Bitcoin maxis, blockchain maxis. I'm sorry, Bitcoin Ethereum maxis. I'm a blockchain maxi. At one point, I thought you needed to tokenize everything, which it doesn't need to happen, but we're starting to see that now. You have the DMV in California tokenizing the driver's license, tokenization of real estate, as Rick said. Everything's going to be tokenized. But all that to say, guys, we're here to build, we're here to educate, and we're here to make our users become producers and not consumers. Take it away, Rick.
Well, I think to summarize it up, I've spent my entire career on the front lines of disruptive technologies. SoonPay is a disruptor in the remittance and banking technology arena. And all I ask you is follow Project Pi, follow Liquid, follow SoonPay, and you're going to see the future of DeFi.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining the chat. Whether it is morning time, evening, nighttime, or whenever you're watching this recording, thank you so much for taking your time out of the day to listen to us. You guys have a great day and have a good one.
Take care, guys.